Hello, Year 7. I'm Mr. Southall. Right, here we go. Here's the first letter of today. Okay, dear sir, my name is Jayan. Is that right? From 7.
Jahan.
Jahan. Okay. And your question was, how does time work in space? That's an incredibly good question. It works the same as it does everywhere in the universe. Time does change its rate of movement depending on whether it's near something with gravity or not. So time actually runs slower. Time runs slower at the surface of the Earth than above the Earth. Okay. Anyway, is there anything outside of space? Don't know. Could be. There's lots of the universe that we don't know about yet, that we can't see, and we may never ever see. Has anyone travelled to past Mars? No. We did send the Voyager space probes. They're still travelling now. They've gone beyond all the planets, beyond Pluto. And they're just going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. And one day, they might bump into some aliens, and we've left a message on them for them. So look up the Voyager project. Okay, here's one. Dear sir, my name is Nazeen, and I would like to ask one question. Is the universe expanding? It is. Every day it's expanding. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger at quite a tremendous rate. We have another question here. Does the moon go further away from the Earth? That's a good question. It does. Every year the moon is getting a very small distance, a few millimetres of further away from the Earth. It's sort of spiralling outwards. So eventually, one day, in a few billion years' time, the moon will fly off into space. Awesomes. Okay, another question here. We have, dear sir, my name is it Dallas? Dallas? Mrs. being very quiet on the video there. Is that because you're eating your lunch, miss? Okay, I'm 11. I like space because I live. Okay, where's your questions? How do you eat in space, and how do you drink? With great difficulty. Okay, I'm sure Miss can show you in lessons some of the videos of astronauts eating and drinking in space. But it is very difficult because there's no gravity when you're on a spacecraft. Okay, good question. And I've got another one here. Manpreet, sorry. When you go to the moon, how long can you survive on there with one tank of air? Depends how big the tank is. It's a really docking great big tank for ages. But people have only gone to the moon and spent a matter of hours there at a time. I think the real trick will be to find out how we could take water there and then split the water into oxygen and hydrogen so we could breathe. And we know there's water on the moon as well, so we wouldn't even have to take the water. That'd be quite cool. Why does the moon have a lot of gravity? It doesn't have a lot of gravity, it still has gravity, because anything with mass, anything that's made out of stuff, atoms, has gravity. So even I have gravity field around me, and you do too. And why does it take a long time to get to the moon? Because it's really far away. It's about 180,000 miles away. Okay, so if you were to drive there in your car, if I got into my Citroen C3 and drove at 60 miles an hour, it'd probably take me, I don't know, I think it'd take me 160 days to get there in my car. It took astronauts 3 days to get there, and that was going really fast. Okay. And I've got one final one from Trevon. And you'd like to go to Mars, okay, a little bit chilly on Mars, and you'd like to know about Pluto. Pluto is a very, very cold, icy planet. It's not really a planet, and it was declassified as a planet a few years ago, and lots of people had protested about it. But Pluto really is a giant comet. So I like to think of Pluto as being the king of the comets, because there are lots of Pluto-sized objects further out there. It's something called the Kuiper Belt that you can read about. Okay, so thank you for the questions, Year 7. Keep them coming. Cheers.